Okay. I think we'll get started. I think we'll get started. If anybody else shows up, that'll be cool. If not, that's okay too. Um, so welcome to Self-Care Sundays, but it's a Thursday because of the Super Bowl. Um, yeah, it's gonna be on Sundays after this week. But for the first week, I wanted to do a relaxation practice, and I also wanted to focus on a virtue for myself. So we have this family virtues guide that I did a lot out of as a kid. Thanks, Mom. Um, and the very first one is assertiveness. So we're going to talk about assertiveness first, and then we're going to do our relaxation practice. So the definition, what is assertiveness? Being assertive means to be positive and confident. It is knowing that you deserve respect. Assertiveness begins by being aware that you are a worthy person. You have your own special gifts. Only you have your own unique combination of qualities. When you are assertive, you tell the truth about what is just. You don't need to follow others. You think for yourself. If someone is trying to hurt you, lead you into trouble, or influence you to do something that feels wrong, you protect yourself. You show strength not to let others hurt you or influence you in negative ways. Assertiveness is asking for what you want and need. It is expressing your own ideas, opinions, and talents. When you do this, you serve the world in your own special way. So, that is assertiveness. So this week, I'm going to practice being assertive. So, for example, it says if you were too passive, you would allow others to hurt you or get into trouble. But if you're too aggressive, you would try to control others or push around or hurt them. And you would feel bad about yourself. So when you're assertive, others will respect you, and you're offering your true perspective on things, and you're making sure that it is heard and that your needs are met. So there's more about that in here, and then it gives signs of success and things that might be signs that you need more practice. So if you're interested in the pages from this book, send me a message and I'll send them to you. So we'll go ahead now and read the affirmation for the week. And if you have any successes with being assertive this week, I'd love to hear about them. The affirmation is, I am assertive. I think for myself and do what I feel is right. I tell the truth about what is just. I know I have the right to be treated with respect. So for me, I'm going to be practicing that by being assertive when I have sensory discomfort. I'm going to bring it up and be like, hey, could we dim the lights a little bit? Or could we make the music a little bit louder or a little bit quieter? That's what I'm going to work on. So there is our affirmation for this week about being assertive. And now we'll get into the relaxation portion of the practice. So the reason I call this a relaxation practice is because if we tell ourselves over and over and over again that, oh my gosh, I have to be relaxed, I'm not relaxing, I need to be relaxing, you're never going to be relaxed because you're like forcing yourself to try to be relaxed. So the point of this practice is to give your mind and your body space to try out something new and feel where the muscle tension is in your body and how it might feel to increase that or decrease that muscle tension. So it's really just about giving that exploration, because a lot of the times we're tense and we don't even realize that that's what's happening in our body, so it's not a choice. So these exercises over time tend to give you that choice about whether you want your muscles to be relaxed or you want them to be tense, because there's some amount of tension that's necessary when you're doing certain activities. That's the whole point of muscles, they tense and they relax. So we're just going to explore that a little bit today. And when I say tense the muscles, we don't need to squeeze up so hard that we even hurt ourselves. it can just be like, if I'm using my hand as an example, just a very gentle tense and relax of my fingers. And you can try that with me if you want. Or if you're doing the whole hand, a gentle fist and open. If you want to squeeze a little bit harder, that's totally fine, just as long as you do that within your limits. So we're going to start by finding a comfortable seat in the chair that we're in. And at this point, you can lean back if you would like. I find it's helpful to lean back a little bit in your chair. You could also do this lying down. The one thing I would say is, over time, the more that you do this, if you only ever do it in your bed, your brain is only ever going to think about relaxing in your bed. And the goal is to kind of try to do it throughout life as well, because we do want to be relaxed before we fall asleep, but we don't want to completely link the two, because we want to have that opportunity to relax in other times. So I'm choosing a chair. I'm sitting right now. And we're just going to take a couple deep breaths at whatever pace feels good for your body, maybe 3 or 4. And maybe do the next one a little bit slower. And focus on letting the next one out even a little bit slower. And if you would like to close your eyes for this practice, you can. Otherwise, you can kind of soften your gaze at some place in front of you. And let's think about how our body is sitting in the chair right now. Feel the chair on your back. If you're laying down, feel the way that the weight of your body is on the bed or the floor. And just feel those points of contact. And once you've established those points of contact in your body, I want you to do a quick scan. And I want you to find a place that is a little bit stiff or uncomfortable in your body. And just notice it for a moment. And then thank that place for doing its job. And if you wanted, you can relax that place a little bit before we begin, but if it doesn't relax, that's okay too. And then as you scan your body one more time, I want you to find a place that feels really, really comfortable. And if you can't find a place that's really, really comfortable, find a place that is neutral. And acknowledge that place and thank it for doing its job. And now we're going to move down to our toes. And I want you to squeeze your toes a little bit. Squeeze, squeeze, keep squeezing. And feel how that tension is in your toes. What does it feel like when they're tensed up? And then let go and relax those muscles and feel as they slowly return to that relaxed state. And next we're going to do our whole foot. You can kind of tense up your whole foot, maybe squeeze that a little bit harder with your toes that time. It's okay if your toes get involved. And feel how the whole foot is when it's tense. And let that go. And notice the difference between when it's all tense and when it's relaxed. And throughout the day, that's what your body is doing. It is tensing and it is relaxing, but sometimes it gets stuck in the tense spot. And so this exercise can kind of help relax a little bit. Next, we're going to point our toes to flex our calves. And hold the tension in your calf. And let it go. Now we're going to flex our feet so that we feel it in the front of our shins. Hold the tension in the front of your shins for a moment. And let go. And think about how that feels, the difference between the tension and the relaxation. And as we will move our way up, we're going to do our thighs. So we can do this by squeezing our knees together. And you can feel a little tension in your thighs when you squeeze your knees together. And sometimes other muscles want to join in, like the glutes. And just see if you can isolate those muscles in your thighs and hold them tense. And let go. Moving to the glutes, we're going to squeeze them together and relax. All the muscles in our legs have done their job and they are now relaxed. As we move up, we're going to slightly tense our abdominal muscles and hold for a second and relax them. Moving to our chest, you can raise your shoulders a little bit. Feel the tension and relax. Now we're going to move down to our fingers and just feel how your fingers are before you even do anything. And then just give them a little bit of tension. Squeeze your fingers and your hand, ball it up into a fist. And release. Now we're going to move to our forearms and squeeze your forearms up. Put your hands by your shoulders. And tilt your fist towards your elbow. It's okay if your hands get a little bit involved here. And relax. Now we're going to move up towards our head. Tilt your head backwards a little bit. And just feel that tension in your spine a little bit there on the back of the neck. Remember not to go too far, just a little bit is enough. And relax. And as we continue on, we're going to move to our mouth. And scrunch your mouth up. And relax. And maybe your jaw hangs open a little bit. That's okay. And we're going to move up to our eyes and our nose and scrunch up your eyes and your nose. And relax. And feeling from the top of your head pouring down over your shoulders and your arms and your chest. This relaxation moves down into your stomach and your pelvis and your legs. And finally down into your feet. And you can sit with this relaxation as long as you feel ready. And when you feel ready to go back to your day, you can start to wiggle your hands, your fingers, and maybe your toes. And open your eyes. And maybe you start to stretch or yawn a little bit. Whatever your body feels like it needs to do is okay. And as we come back to the room, I just wanted to thank you all for joining me today for this relaxation practice. I hope to see some of you next Sunday if that is something you'd like to do. So at this point, I would just like to end our session with saying that was progressive muscle relaxation. If you want to look it up and practice on your own, there are tons of videos online. Some are better than others. But working from your toes to your head, just tensing each muscle group and noticing how the difference is between the tension and the relaxation, and noticing that throughout your day. It also helps us to focus on certain muscle groups. It helps with different coordination. It's been proven to help with quite a few things, including relaxation. The more we do these practices, the more you'll notice and feel the relaxation come sooner. The goal of these practices is not necessarily to relax, like I said before, but it is a really nice side effect to give our time for our body and our mind. And another thing I just wanted to say is that when we think about the mind and body relationship, we think a lot about how our brain is telling our body to do certain things. But the reality is that our body is also telling our brain to do certain things. And so by doing a practice that creates muscle tension and relaxes muscle tension, we are training our bodies to get used to letting go of muscle tension and to continue to provide a more relaxed state when we are not using those muscles, which can help us longer term and improve things like fatigue. So definitely work with your body, not against it. because your body is telling your brain quite a few things, and the more tension you hold in your body, the more that your brain believes that that tension is valid and that there is a reason for that tension and that you must be stressed. So unintentionally holding that can really cause some crazy things to happen in your brain that you may not even realize. So as we continue our week, definitely let me know if you have any wins with assertiveness, since that is our virtue for the next week. And on that note, I hope to see you all next Sunday, and I hope you enjoyed this relaxation practice. We'll do different ones every week, but we might do repeats here and there. So if you have a favorite, let me know. All right. I hope you all have a lovely evening. Bye.